Hello and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe Football Show. I'm your host, Joe Fair. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Dominic Toretto's favorite football podcast. Yeah, that's right. I'm joined, obviously, once again by my illustrious producer, Joe Teason. How's it going, Joe?
Spectacular. I'm glad you brought that up, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. We've just been talking about family a lot lately.
Yeah, family. Yeah, I feel like we almost have sort of a family, family vibe, sort of like the Fast and the Furious guys.
Yeah, I live my life quarter mile at a time.
Yeah. In those 10 seconds or less, I'm free. You know what I'm saying? No, me and my wife have been watching through the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
My wife, the other day, I go up to her. This is really funny. I don't know. I find it funny. Maybe nobody else will find it funny. But I go up to my wife. I was like, hey, my wife really loves the Fast and Furious movies. And I do too. I think they're silly and dumb and fun. I go, hey, don't you have like almost all of the Fast and the Furious movies? And then she goes, no, I don't have all of them. I was like, yeah, but don't you have like almost all of them? She's like, I don't have all of them. I have like 7. So I was expecting her to say like 4 or like 3.
Yeah.
Like, no, she had 7. She has 7 of, I think, or it's either 6 or 7, but a lot of Fast and the Furious movies.
And I have absolutely 0 of them.
Yeah, and you're missing out, man. We watched the first one, and we watched a little bit of the second one. We're just gonna watch through them because they're a hoot and holler and good time.
They are a good action movie to watch.
Yeah, it's so cheesy though. Like watching the first one back is really fun.
Really,
like I would highly recommend it. If any of you, I know like some people are too smart and too cool to watch those movies. Have a little bit of fun and just go back and watch them. And don't go in with a mindset like, oh, this is stupid, I'm going to trash it. But it's like, this is stupid. It's so fun. I'm going to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I own a total of 2 DVDs in my house.
Really?
Like, I mean like non-digital movies,
Really?
TV shows in my house. Yeah, I have the Office series on DVD, which is, I guess, a lot of discs.
That's a lot of, yeah.
But and then I have Fantastic Mr. Fox on Blu-ray.
I thought you had Get Out.
Mm-mm.
No,
I don't have Get
that's
Out.
That's our other friend.
Yeah,
I have Get Out.
Yeah, you got Get Out
on Blu-ray.
Which have you seen? That Candyman.
No,
isn't it out? Is it out now?
I don't even know Candyman. But there's another new movie that he's making.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
It's coming out in 2022.
What's it called?
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh,
That guy, man, he makes some movies. Like,
it's funny that I was never into horror movies at all. I didn't like the genre very much.
yeah.
I'm still not a huge fan because I'm very selective when it comes to horror movies.
100%.
I will say that his 2 movies that he's created so far, Us and Get Out, are actually like 2 of some of my favorite movies I've ever watched, and they are both of that genre.
Yeah.
I love them. I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Us. I have Get Out. Get Out, I loved it. And then Us came out. It's on Netflix now. If you guys haven't seen it, it is, scary. So
It is
careful.
Careful.
Children, if you're listening to this, don't watch it. But wow, that one is so good. I love Us. That is like, oh man, I've been meaning to watch it again. Really like that one. And I was kind of the same way. I never really liked horror movies. And I still don't really, I don't go out of my way to watch horror movies. I watched the new It, or it's not new. It's been out for like a year and a half or 2 years. But it only recently got on Netflix. So then I watched it. I liked the first one. The second one was, I don't know, it was fine. It got to a certain point, I'm halfway through the movie, I'm so over this clown.
I get
thing.
it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
he's gross. He does scary things.
Yeah.
Now he's a spider and it's scary and it's I don't know. It's I get it.
I could never take it seriously enough to be scared of it. The whole clown thing. He was less of a clown, more of a demon-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not like the movies very much. I'll be quite honest with you. I didn't.
It gets to be a lot. I like the first one. I really like the first one. I watched that one a few times. Second one, I don't think. Maybe I would watch it again, but it would take a lot. I don't know if I would watch it. It's a long movie. I was 2.5 hours in. I was like, man, we got to be coming up towards the end here. There's 50 minutes left. I was unbelievable. And you know how I feel about long movies.
Yeah.
We've been over this before.
Yeah.
If your movie is over, let's say over 2 hours, you didn't make a good movie, man. It's just
Which I disagree.
it's just too long.
Avatar was an amazing movie
Too
that was
long.
almost 3 hours
Yeah,
long.
Avatar is a really good movie.
Yeah, so
But just make it 2 movies, man. You know what I'm saying? 2-hour long movies.
They are making another Avatar though.
Yeah, that one's gonna be 5 hours long.
It might be.
I'm just saying, man. Like, I get tired after a while. It's like I like to be able to know. Okay, we got to be coming up close here to the end. And then when I say that, and there's still an hour left in the movie, it's like, what else could we even possibly do at this point?
Well, it depends if it's a good or bad movie. Like the second It movie. Well, both of them I didn't like very much. But like, if it's not a great movie, you don't want it to be long. But if it's a good movie, it can go on. It can go on longer than 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe the 2 hours thing is a little bit. Maybe okay, like 2.5. If you just don't have a 3-hour movie.
3 hours is the maximum. If it's longer than 3 hours, okay. Another one, Interstellar.
Yeah, never seen it.
Incredible movie.
Yeah,
unbelievable movie. I loved it.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard really good things from you almost exclusively, but yeah. Another one that I watched that it was like, oh man, this is long, was Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know if you've ever watched that one.
No.
Maybe, and I'm just looking it up right now to see how long it was. But we were watching it in theaters, and it has terrible reviews. People don't really like it. It's like 5.5 stars out of 10. People don't like it. I'm trying to find out how long it is here. But it was another one where I was watching, and it's like, okay, we got to be coming, like, it's, you can tell when a movie's kind of like reached the climax, and it's like, okay, we're getting towards the end, and nope, it was not the end.
Yeah,
and
that
it just kept going. And I cannot for the life of me find out how long
you
is.
can Google how long is.
Well, I could have used that information a little while ago.
Yeah, and it'll tell you how long the movie runs for because it's a little bit easier than just
while I look this up.
Searching it.
Football. We're going to talk preseason football. We had the first week of a full slate of preseason games. This is the Average Joe football show, after all. I'm going to go through and overreact to everything. Not everything. Overreact to a lot of things that happened in preseason week 1. We're going to skip the news. We're going to go straight to overreacting about preseason football. It's going to be a good time. But, yeah, Wonder Woman's like 2.5 hours, so that's not even that long.
It's not that bad. But when it's did you like the movie or not?
I actually kind of did, but
okay, because sometimes when it's a bad movie, it feels really long.
Yeah.
That same thing when it's like a bad song, like it feels like it's too long.
Yeah. But Wonder Woman, I would probably watch it. I would recommend to watch that movie. It's kind of weird. It's I can't even tell if it's a good movie, but there's some stuff in there. Like the villain is kind of cool. Like he's kind of a cool villain.
Okay.
He's a guy. He somehow gets these powers from this relic, and he gets to like grant one wish to everybody. And it's really cool, like the way that he turns into like just the ultimate supervillain.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Dude, some movies have such amazing concepts, but just terrible execution. Yep. And like it's such a waste of an amazing concept for a movie.
Dude, I say this all the time. I have the perfect example, and I'm looking.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
No, it's not. It's very close. I think you know which movie. It's Downsizing.
Yes.
With Matt Damon.
Yes.
Downsizing. I've only watched it once.
So much potential. Yeah. I've never even watched it, but I've only heard bad things. That's
a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. So.
Ay.
But listen, I've only watched it once, and maybe I should give it another shot. But when I watched it, like such a cool idea. So Matt Damon gets shrunk down. They have a small world for people.
Is it because of overpopulation? Because that's an even cooler concept.
I have to think. I don't know exact. I think it's for people who are in like financial hardships. Like it's cheaper to just shrink down.
To downsize. Oh, literally.
Downsize. I think that's what it is. It's like if people are having financial troubles, they just downsize. So they shrink them down. And it's like such a cool concept. I was like really excited to watch this movie. I watched it with I was with my in-laws. This might have been even before I was even married. We were just sitting looking for a movie to watch, and I recommended Downsizing because I thought it would be good. And man, I really dropped the ball on that one because it's just like they don't even, after a while, you don't even really remember that they're small. Like it's just not even, they don't even really talk. It's a lot of weird drama and like I don't know. It really felt like they dropped the ball on that whole situation. Like I don't know. I can't even. I'll have to watch it again to give you like a full on review because I don't remember a lot of the plot points from it. But I just remember walking away from it being like, "What the heck was that?"
Yeah.
Like I was really excited for that movie, and it was a really cool concept. Very disappointing. Yeah.
I don't know. Another good example. I don't know if you ever watched the movie Lucy.
Lucy. Oh, is that the one with Scarlett Johansson learns how to use 100% of her brain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
No. But basically, she gets kidnapped, and then they put a bunch of drugs. They cut her open, put a bunch of drugs inside of her.
That's insane.
And then the drugs start leaking in her, and it's like a crazy drug that they have in this world, this fantasy world, and it's like a crazy drug, and it starts leaking inside of her, and it's getting to her brain. It's getting, I don't know. Basically, she's able to access 100% of her brain at the same time, and she gets to start doing like it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
But the movie gets so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It gets way too ridiculous for me to enjoy it. I've ended up falling asleep and just did not. And usually I'm not very picky when it comes to movies, but this movie was just, I did not love it. Also, I have a little thing where, when good actors and actresses get cast in bad movies, they're not very good.
Yeah, Lucy got a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. So not terrible, but not great either.
Yeah,
no, so I feel that. That's disappointing. And it's since that movie came out, it's also like the reason that movie was kind of a thing was because there was a time where we thought as humans that humans only use 20% of their brain.
10%, I thought.
10%. Was it 10%? That's completely been disproven now. It's like we use all of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Our brain is all used. Like there's not just parts of our brain.
Is that true?
Yeah, look it up. I don't know. Maybe.
maybe you're really wrong right now. You sound dumb.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing to maybe look up.
You know what? Another thing. Sorry, I'm just gonna rant. This is really dumb. I just looked up one of my favorite movies. It's a movie. It's a sci-fi thriller that came out in 2018. It's a movie called Mute.
Mute. Okay, yeah, I think we've talked about this on the podcast.
Yep, it's kind of like a cyberpunk kind of thing, and basically I'm really ticked off because I'm looking. It got a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, and that's the thing.
I actually really like this movie.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. We're talking about Rotten Tomatoes, and for the most part, who cares what Rotten Tomatoes says about movies?
Yeah.
You basically only use Rotten Tomatoes if there's a movie that you don't like and you want to be proven right. You know what I'm saying? But like Rotten Tomatoes, like this is what I'm kind of going back to the Fast and the Furious thing. If you find a movie fun and it's good for you, that's a good movie for you.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's very subjective.
Exactly.
Is that the right word to use? I feel like I use that word too much for not knowing exactly what it means.
I think subjective is right. I wonder what Fast and the Furious would have on Rotten Tomatoes.
The rest of this podcast is going to be us
looking up
some of our favorite movies and what they got on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, are you kidding me? 50%?
We don't even say 54% for Fast and the Furious.
What, the newest one?
No, this is the old
original.
One. The OG.
Wow, 54.
Yeah, 54.
It's like give it a break.
Yeah,
it's
man.
It's a classic.
Come on, it's a classic. Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, 36%. Took a little bit of a nosedive. I'd be curious to know Tokyo Drift real quick. This will be the last one. We won't do any more after this. Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift. I bet you this one's pretty bad too. 38. Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were not great.
No. Well, no, they're not good like it's got if Vin Diesel, and I know Vin Diesel for the first 3, he's only in the first one. But if Vin Diesel is one of your main actors, it's probably not a great movie acting wise.
You don't think he's a good actor?
No, I don't. I don't think he's a good actor. No, it's but Fast and Furious is so fun, and they're up to 9 movies now.
That is kind of nuts.
That's insane, and they're not done.
Sorry, I'm just going off on this Rotten Tomatoes thing.
What has a 61?
Alita Battle Angel only has a 61.
Yeah,
Alita Battle Angel is the greatest movie of all time.
Actually, on second thought, Rotten Tomatoes, screw that. Rotten Tomatoes, man. Who do they think they are?
Right?
Who's in charge of Rotten Tomatoes?
Show me the CEO of Rotten Tomatoes.
CEO of Rotten Tomatoes, step up.
Yeah.
The Average Joe Football Show is calling you out.
The Average Joe Show is.
Yep.
We want you on.
We want you on, CEO. CEO of Bad Movie Reviews. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I feel like we could have gone somewhere with that. We could have had something there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about before we get into the football. This is your chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm good, man.
You're good? Okay. Well, fair enough. Then without further ado, why don't we jump straight into overreacting about week 1 of the NFL preseason. It's been months and months since we've had our last real football to watch. Unless you include the Hall of Fame game, then it's only been a few days. But no, it's been months since the Super Bowl, all the way back to February. So you know for a fact, as soon as we get real football, even if it's just the preseason, even if it's just week 1 of the preseason, even if a lot of starters aren't playing, you know we're going to overreact to everything that happens in week 1 of the preseason because the NFL is a sport that is made for overreacting. The NFL, unlike other sports, there's only one game per week. So there's so much room for speculation in between those 7 days you have between those games. Like in the NBA, if you have a bad game and you lose, now you have the second night of a back-to-back and you can just play, a game and people forget about that other game. But in the NFL, you don't have that. You play on Sunday for the most part. There's obviously Monday and Thursday you play sometimes as well, and sometimes Saturdays. And if it's COVID, who knows? You can play any day of the week. But you only play once a week, so you have all this time, all this room for speculation. And that never stops, even if it's week 1 of the preseason. So I'm going to give you guys some things, some overreactions from week 1, starting with my first overreaction, and it's that the 2021 quarterback class is the greatest quarterback class in the history of the NFL. That's right, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, the greatest quarterback class ever. It's not the 83 quarterback class or whatever that was, 83, 84 with Dan Marino and John Elway and Jim Kelly. It's not them. No, it's this draft class because these guys balled out in week 1 of the preseason. No, obviously that's not the case. But I do want to talk about the rookie quarterbacks and how they played. We talked about last week all the things that we wanted to see from the rookie quarterbacks, all the things that we could see from the rookie quarterbacks in this preseason. And I thought they were the big storyline going into this weekend and or this week of games. And I thought they delivered. It wasn't obviously out of this world. A lot of them didn't play a whole lot of football, but I think we got to see enough to make some assumptions, and for a lot of people, enough to make stone cold arguments for whether or not they're a bust. But I thought the rookie quarterbacks this week played fairly well. And like I said, not a whole lot of snaps, but I'm just going to go through the different rookie quarterbacks. I want to start with Mac Jones. He was the first rookie quarterback that we saw play this week. He played against the Washington football team on Thursday night. They were the first preseason game this week alongside the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh game. But Mac Jones did not start the game. Cam Newton started the game. Cam Newton did not play well. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that later on in the episode. Cam Newton did not play well. Mac Jones comes in. He finishes 13 for 19, 87 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Didn't play a whole lot. He played a couple quarters. The crowd was hyped for Mac Jones. That's my first takeaway. They were excited. When he got on the field, they lost it at every completed pass that this guy threw. The Foxborough faithful were losing their marbles. They were so excited to see Mac Jones, and that was really fun. It's fun to have fans back in the field, in the stadiums rather, even if it's just overreacting to preseason football. But I thought Mac Jones played well. I think the one thing that you can tell from the Mac Jones game, in like most of these guys, he didn't play much. I think he played just into the third quarter. He played the beginning of the second and then maybe into the third. I don't know exactly, but didn't play a whole lot. Obviously, only threw 19 passes. But I thought he played well. He looked comfortable. And I think that's really important because we've seen time to time quarterbacks come in and they look rattled immediately, like right off the bat. The game is fast for them. Mac Jones didn't look like that. He looked comfortable. He almost right off the bat had a beautiful, beautiful dime that he threw. But a 35-yard pass into the end zone that was dropped. That would have been a gorgeous touchdown. A really nice throw, but ended up being dropped in the end zone. For the most part, I think that the Patriots played it pretty safe with Mac Jones. Didn't do a whole lot. A lot of dump offs, a lot of throwing to the flat, a lot of short throws, just run after catch stuff. But that's been the Josh McDaniels offense. That's what Tom Brady that was Tom Brady's bread and butter for 20 years in the NFL. And if Mac Jones can do it even close to as effectively as Tom Brady did it with the Patriots, that's all you need to do. But I thought Mac Jones looked poised. He looked comfortable. Like I said, I thought he looked much better than Cam. And you got to understand, obviously, Mac Jones was going up against backup players. But another thing, a lot of people like to use that argument in the preseason. This is kind of a little bit of a rabbit trail, but everything you see with fans, if their team gets, gets embarrassed or their team gets cooked on a play, the immediate defense is, that was against our backups, which is fair. It's a fair argument. The preseason, for the most part, you can't take anything away from it. As far as wins, it doesn't count towards the standings, and a lot of backups are played. Some teams like the Rams and the Chargers and the Buccaneers don't even really play any of their starters, so you can't really take much away. But when you're talking about these rookie quarterbacks, I see a lot of people saying, they're playing against third team defenses. Like, what are we proving by having them go against third team defenses? And it's like, yeah, but they're also playing with like the third team offense. Like, they don't have the starting offensive line. They don't have, and this is some of these guys. Some of these guys started the game, but a lot of these guys, like Mac Jones, like Justin Fields, they don't have the starting offensive line. They don't have their starting wide receivers. They're playing with third stringers too, and it doesn't matter that they're third stringers. This is their first NFL experience. This is the first time getting to a point where everybody around them is good enough to be a professional. Like in college, even if you play in the SEC, which is like the most talented conference in college football, you're still playing with, there's still a lot of guys that will never be good enough to make it to the pro level. But when you get to the pros, obviously everybody that's a pro is good enough to be a pro. Even if it's bottom of the roster guys, you have to understand, even if somebody is at the bottom of an NFL roster, they're still so good at football. Like, they're so good at football. But the talent level in the NFL is so high that obviously not everybody's going to make that roster. So that excuse that, they're playing against third team players, they're playing against, second team, they're playing against the backups, that's, to a certain extent, yes, okay, that makes sense. But also, these guys are not playing with Hall of Famers alongside them. But with that, let's move to a guy who did work against the Dolphins' third-team defense. That's Justin Fields. This was the guy who had the most love, I think, from Week 1 of the NFL preseason, and it's Justin Fields, the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He finished 14 for 20, 142 yards and a touchdown. He also had 5 rushes on the ground for 33 yards and a rushing touchdown. He struggled early on in the game. If you watch the game, it was the first game on Saturday, and Justin Fields only came in around the second quarter. Andy Dalton could not get anything accomplished. The Bears didn't have a first down until under a minute left in the first half. It was 3-and-out, 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 3-and-out. They could not get anything done against the Dolphins defense that was missing quite a few starters, to be honest. But Andy Dalton didn't look good. Justin Fields came in. The crowd lost their mind, obviously, when he came in the game. Early on, I thought he struggled. And for those of you that have ever listened to this podcast, know that I'm a huge Justin Fields stan. I've been a huge fan of Justin Fields since the draft, and I've said time and time again, almost every episode I say how excited I am for Justin Fields. So when I say the stuff that I'm about to say, I'm not hating on Justin Fields. Justin Fields is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, honestly. I'm really rooting for him. But I thought early on he struggled. He looked like a rookie early on. He had a pass deflected. He fumbled on a third down scramble. There was a couple of passes, one or two passes I think that should have been intercepted in this game. And that was early on. But when it got to the second half, he looked like a completely different quarterback. And you can say maybe that was because he was playing against lower level players. But I mean, he wasn't playing against the Dolphins starters in the first place. But in the second half, he looked a lot more comfortable. His throws, you could just tell. I mean, this guy's got zip on the ball. He's got an arm. He showed off his incredible athleticism. I mean, this guy is fast. He ran wild. He had a rushing touchdown. And he had a wide open touchdown pass to Jesse James, tight end Jesse James on a busted coverage. But he looked comfortable and poised in that second half. I'm going to use that word poised a lot when describing these quarterbacks. But he can make some electric plays. And, trying not to overreact, although that's kind of the point of this segment. He struggled at points. And I think some of these numbers, like the 142 yards, I mean, he played just a lot. He played a lot of snaps in this game compared to the other rookies. That's why I think his numbers look quite a bit better than some of these other rookies. He played quite a bit more than a lot of these other rookies. But he has the ability to be so special. And I think Matt Nagy, the Bears head coach, knows that, because he said after this game, the day after this game, that Justin Fields is going to get more work with the ones. He's going to get more work with the starters. And if he continues to play this well in the preseason, and I know it's preseason, but and Andy Dalton continues to struggle like he did against the Dolphins. Andy Dalton did not look good. That offense could not get anything done. And to be fair, he didn't play a whole lot, but still, Justin Fields looked incredible at times, and he really made explosive plays. He made some nice throws on the run, and you guys know how high I am on Justin Fields. I just don't think he has very many holes in his game, and I think that if he continues to play at this level in the preseason, there's no way you can start Andy Dalton in week 1. I mean, Justin Fields has this electricity around him that it's so exciting, and it only take a couple more preseason games of him playing the way he did in the second half of this Dolphins game to put the pressure on Matt Nagy, put the pressure on this Bears coaching staff to have him start week 1, because I genuinely think if he starts week 1, he's got a legitimate shot to win Rookie of the Year. And I think, given time, I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think he just has all the tools to be that guy. And I'm not saying that we saw all of that from this one start, but you guys know that I'm extremely high on Justin Fields. But in general, I thought he played well. I don't think he played as well as a lot of people are saying that he played. I think he struggled at points, and some of his numbers are a little bit, I think, overblown. But I love Justin Fields. I'm okay with people overreacting. One thing, though, he did say after the game, he was asked what the speed of the game was like, because a lot of people, when they get to the NFL, they say that the speed of the game is so much faster. And he said, it honestly seemed kind of slow to me. And then he said things like, oh, I knew we could score on the Dolphins defense because we had practice against them all week. I would just be careful with things like that, Justin Fields, because last year we saw Tua say something along the lines of, oh, this is a lot easier than I thought it would be, and I think he got benched the very next game. So just be careful, because the NFL has a funny way of humbling you when you get a little cocky like that. So I don't love that, saying that it's a little bit slow, because he was playing against, he's not playing against the Dolphins starting defense. So when he says, he can score against the defense, it's like, okay, you can score against special teamers. But again, he's not playing with superstars. But I thought Justin Fields, a well-rounded game, struggled at the beginning, but really turned in a good comeback there at the end. And then on to the first pick in the 2021 NFL draft, and that's Trevor Lawrence. And he, along with the guy that went second, played the least out of everybody. This didn't have very many throws. Trevor Lawrence went 6 for 9 for 71 yards. I would have loved to see him play a little bit more, but I can understand why they did not play him more, because he was sacked on the very first play from scrimmage in this game. He was pressured a ton in this game, so that's why it makes sense to me that he didn't play much. He got sacked twice. He was under a lot of pressure. The one time that he was protected really well, he hits a deep shot to Marvin Jones. It wasn't a great throw. It wasn't a terrible throw. He put it up high where Marvin Jones could get it. Marvin Jones made an incredible effort to go and get that ball. A really fun play to watch. But you can see some of the things, and we didn't get to see much out of Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, he didn't play a whole lot. He was pressured a lot, which sucks. It seems like the offensive lines in general in this preseason really struggled. I mean, a lot of pressure being had, in not just against rookie quarterbacks, but against a lot of these teams. But you can tell with Trevor Lawrence, he's got a special arm. So the zip that he has on some of these balls, some of these outbreaking routes, the speed at which he can get the ball to these guys is really good. He seems to have a really nice connection with Marvin Jones, so maybe look out for that if you're looking for a late round fantasy ad. Marvin Jones looks to have a really good connection with Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, you can see his special arm. I would say out of all the rookie quarterbacks, he probably looked the least comfortable, and that's not totally fair, because I think he was pressured the most out of all these rookie quarterbacks. He was under a lot of duress. I mean, the Jaguars' offensive line's got to get better if they want Trevor Lawrence to not end up the way that Joe Burrow was last season, injured for like half the season. The Jags' offensive line has to improve, and you hope that with more preseason games and more training camp that happens. But you cannot walk your star franchise quarterback out there with an offensive line that's allowing as much pressure as they did yesterday. Not yesterday. I don't know why I said yesterday. That's not yesterday at all, but the other day when they played this game. And then on to the second pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, Zach Wilson also only threw 9 passes, also went 6 for 9, just like Trevor Lawrence, had 63 yards. I thought he looked mad comfortable. I thought he looked really comfortable when he was well protected. I think he looked really good. Accurate passes, a ton of zip. He's another guy. I'm talking about zip a lot, but these guys, a lot of quarterbacks in this class, almost all of them except for Mac Jones, I feel like have really special arms, and they have power that they can deliver these balls in there. Just really good zip on the ball. When he was protected, he looked comfortable. I thought the offensive line did a fairly good job of protecting him, which is a good sign if you're a Jets fan, to see that rebuilt offensive line playing fairly well. I don't know exactly how many starters were playing, but him and Corey Davis seem to be trying to connect with each other. He only connected on two passes for 18 yards, but there seems to be some chemistry there. They seem to be wanting to connect there, but not really enough snaps to make a whole lot of judgment, and none of these guys played enough snaps to make a fair judgment. But Zach Wilson, I thought he looked good. He didn't look scared, which is really good. He looked comfortable. He was delivering throws. He was staying in there in the pocket. A few times when he got pressured, some of his throws were kind of just thrown into the middle of the field, which is not great. But overall, Zach Wilson, not too bad. And then moving on to the final rookie quarterback to overreact to, and it's Trey Lance, who went 5 for 14, 128 yards and a touchdown. So his first pass was dropped, and that's something that he really, the receivers struggled. I don't know if he throws the ball too hard, but these guys, he had 3 passes, gorgeous passes that were dropped. 3 drops, and just brutal drops, ones that shouldn't have been dropped. A couple of them that would have been first downs. One really nice outbreaking route. I think it was just an out or maybe a corner. Really nice. I think it was a third down. He hits a strike, and it was like right along the sidelines. Perfect throw. Dropped. Would have been a beautiful, gorgeous play. His receivers struggled with drops. He was sacked on his first drive to end the drive. And then the second drive, I love this. Kyle Shanahan calls up a little play action rollout. They look back towards the other side of the field, bombs it down the field to, Trent Sheffield for an 80-yard touchdown on his second pass attempt. This was fun. Not a phenomenal throw. It wasn't like a tight window throw. It wasn't right on the money. Kendall Sheffield kind of had to reach back, or what's his name? Not Kendall Sheffield. Trent Sherfield. Kendall Sheffield is somebody else. I don't even know who that is. But Trent Sherfield had to kind of reach back to grab it, but not like a terrible throw. It's an 80-yard touchdown, so obviously it's a good enough throw. But just a fun. I just love that Kyle Shanahan did that. He's like, he didn't like the way that first drive went. He's like, no, okay, I'm going to get people excited about Trey Lance. And just an 80-yard bomb on the Chiefs. And I thought that was really fun. Overall, he went 5 for 14. So, like, there wasn't a whole lot there. He did have 128 yards. He struggled at points. That 80-yard bomb was fun, but like I said, not a great throw. He had 2 throws that I thought should have been picked off. He also had a fumble. But he looked exactly how you think that a guy that hasn't played football in nearly a year would look. And he looks exactly how you would think Trey Lance should look. And that's fine. It's fine that he looked rusty at times. It's fine that he looked like a raw prospect. I wrote down in bold letters raw and potential. You could see potential there. It wasn't quite all the way there, but like I said, that's fine. This is preseason. We're not going to overreact. Even though I say, that we're overreacting, we're not going to overreact to a preseason game. He hasn't played football in over a year, and overall, I thought it was like all these rookie quarterbacks, none of them looked scared. The stage didn't look too big for any of them. And for Trey Lance, coming from a Division II school, hasn't played football in over a year, I thought he played well. But like I said, he was quite raw, but had some moments in this game. And then on to my next overreaction from week 1 of the preseason, and that's that the Denver Broncos are the best team in football. If you watch preseason week number 1 and you based your NFL knowledge just based on that, you would say the Denver Broncos are the best team in football. They beat the brakes off the Minnesota Vikings 33-6. And yes, Vikings fans, I know that you guys didn't play basically anybody, but like I said, we're overreacting. But for the Broncos, 33-6, Teddy and Drew Lock both played pretty well. They looked solid. Drew Lock impressed me in this game. And like I said, they didn't play against, the 85 Bears, but Drew Lock's stat line is comical to look at. He went 5 for 7, 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was kind of fun to watch. And like watching this game, it made me kind of think, like, I kind of want Drew Lock to be a good quarterback just because I think he's really fun. He's a fun watch. He's got like an absolute rocket of an arm. I think he's another one of these guys who just, he doesn't have, it's not all put together, but he's got the talent. I think he has ability to throw on the run. He's got a cannon for an arm. He can just really rip it in there. And we saw that in this game. He had some strikes to some of his receivers. He had an 80-yard bomb to KJ Hamler. Just hit him in stride, wide open. KJ Hamler looked really good in this game. He could be dangerous as a deep threat if these quarterbacks can put it together. But yeah, Drew Lock looked really fun. Teddy Bridgewater came in. I thought he played well. He got cheered by the Minnesota Vikings fans. That was nice. He obviously played there before his knee blew up and his leg almost fell off. But he gets cheered every time he plays there. So that's really classy by the Minnesota Vikings. He finished 7 for 8, 74 yards and a touchdown. He played fine. I don't think he did anything to take control of the starting job. I still think this is Drew Lock's job at the end of all this, and especially after that game. But for the Broncos in general, there's a lot of excitement in this game. Teddy had, like I said, he played fine. He had a really nice throw on a fade route to the end zone to Trinity Benson, who's a receiver who I had never heard of, but he had 2 touchdowns in this game, so that's exciting. Might have another weapon on an offense that I think is filled with weapons. But other things that for the Broncos in this game that make them the best team in the NFL. Javonte Williams, the rookie running back that they drafted in the second round, played good. I thought he looked good. He only ran the ball 5 times for 29 yards, but that's 5.8 yards per carry. He ran the ball well, I think. Jerry Jeudy looked so explosive on his one catch. He had a 33-yard catch and run where he caught a pass from Drew Lock and just did a little juke and just danced his way up the field for 33 yards. And Jerry Jeudy, I'm so excited for him in year 2. I think he got a bad rap. Him and Lock could not seem to get connected with each other at all in year 1, but Jerry Jeudy looked so good just on that one catch. I'm excited. I'm all in on Jerry Jeudy. And then Patrick Surtain, their first round defensive back that they drafted, had a pick 6 in this game. He jumped a late throw by Jake Browning and took it to the house. Just looked like a veteran move by Patrick Surtain. This defense is stacked for the Denver Broncos, especially that secondary. But overall, a really promising, I thought it was a really promising game for Denver Broncos fans. I think there's been a lot of negativity surrounding the Broncos since they didn't get Aaron Rodgers just because of the quarterback position. And this one preseason game is not going to solve everything. And obviously, this is an overreacting segment. So they're not the best team in football. But talent-wise, they have one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. And that's not an overreaction. They have a ton of talent. We talked about the offensive talent that they have with Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Courtland Sutton, Noah Fant, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. And then on the defense, Patrick Surtain, Fuller. They got the other guy, the slot corner, I can't think of his name right now. I think he played for the Eagles. But then you have Justin Simmons, who's really good. I mean, and then Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, just a ton of talent on this defense. And I thought a lot of them played really well. And then again, played against backups. But you'd rather play good against backups than play bad against backups. And then on to my next overreaction, and that's Chase Young is going to go from Defensive Rookie of the Year to Defensive Player of the Year after one preseason game, and I know it. And honestly, the more I think about this, I don't even know if I feel like it's an overreaction. So if you guys did not watch the New England Patriots play the Washington football team, the first drive of the game, Cam Newton's at quarterback, and on 3rd and 8, Chase Young beats his man around the edge, gets to the quarterback, blows up Cam Newton, forced fumble, and he looked like a dude on that play. The dude that we know that he is. And Cam did not play well, and I think a big reason for that is this defensive line. But a quick caveat that I want to put out there. Cam Newton didn't play well. I still think Cam Newton will start week 1, and I'm convinced the offense that they ran in this week 1 of the preseason with Cam Newton is not the offense they're going to run week 1 of the regular season and beyond. And I don't think they're going to show much of anything, because I'm convinced the Patriots, with their offensive line, with a solid group of running backs, in Cam Newton, the best running quarterback in the NFL we've seen in a decade, and really good tight ends. I'm convinced they're going to run a very similar offense to what we see the Baltimore Ravens run. I'm convinced, because the Baltimore Ravens, what do? A ton of ground and pound, running, and if they throw it, a lot to tight ends. And the New England Patriots have 2 of the better tight ends in the NFL now, and I'm convinced that's the offense they're going to run. But anyways, back to Chase Young. I've been talking about Chase Young a few times. I talked about him becoming a superstar on an episode a while back, and he's just a game wrecker. And I think you saw that on this one play. And he didn't play a whole lot in this game. I don't even know if he played after that sack fumble. I would have taken him off after that for sure. But you can I talked about this. There's edge rushers, and then there's game wreckers. There's sack artists, there's guys who can get sacks, and then there's guys who can just completely take over a game. And to me, that's what Chase Young can do. And I would not be the slightest bit surprised if Chase Young wins Defensive Player of the Year. Just that defensive line that he's on, with all those other incredibly talented defensive linemen, all really young, all in their prime. I think Chase Young's going to dominate this year, and this might not even be an overreaction. And then on to one final overreaction, and I got to go back to my Dolphins. I got to talk about the Miami Dolphins a little bit. I got to be a homer. This takeaway is not something that a homer would say, and that's that Tua Tagovailoa is a bust after throwing a preseason interception. Come on, Tua. Those are backups out there. Why are you throwing an interception? I knew they should have taken Justin Herbert. Obviously, an overreaction. Tua, I thought, genuinely looked good in this game. And I'm not going to defend that interception. Tua didn't defend that interception. Most Dolphins fans do not defend that interception. It was not a good throw. He had Adam Shaheen wide open in the end zone, threw the ball way too late. And Tua said, I shouldn't have thrown it. They asked him what he could have done better on that, and he said, probably not thrown it, which is very candid, and I really like that answer. But he just threw it way too late. It was picked off. But you liked seeing him be aggressive. And I thought he looked good in this game. He looked composed. He looked poised, like we've said a few times with the rookie quarterbacks. He was under pressure a lot. The Dolphins' offensive line really crapped the bed in this game. They did not play well. And he looked really good under pressure. And a lot of times last year, we didn't see that from Tua. I don't know if it was the hip injury or what it was, but he looked composed. He had pressure in his face. Austin Jackson got blown up on the edge, almost broke Tua's legs by landing on him, and Tua still delivered a strike. His accuracy was on point. I mean, he might not have the arm that some of these rookie quarterbacks that we talked about, but he has pinpoint accuracy. And I'm in just watch some of the throws that he can make. There was a coach, I don't even know who it was, but they said some quarterbacks have like doorway accuracy where you can throw it through a doorway. Those are not very accurate quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks have, doorknob accuracy where they can throw it to a doorknob. And then some quarterbacks have keyhole accuracy because they can throw it in the keyhole. And that's Tua. He has that keyhole accuracy. And we saw that on display. He looks so much more comfortable. His throws honestly seem to have quite a bit more zip on them. And he only had 11 throws. He went 8 for 11, 99 yards in that interception. But like I said, I was encouraged by his game. And the interception was not good. And it sucks that he had to end that day. He had to end the day on an interception. But he had a really nice strike to Mike Gesicki for a 50-yard gain. That wish it would have been a touchdown. They weren't able to punch it in. Their short running game is still a disaster. But he had a big-time throw to Mike Gesicki, a couple of big-time third-down conversions, which was really good to see, where he just stepped in there, stepped up in the pocket, sometimes under pressure, just delivered a strike. And I thought, genuinely, and this is not being a homer, his throws looked like they had more zip on it. He looked more comfortable, and I was very encouraged by what I saw from Tua, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from him. And he played without Will Fuller, he played without Devontae Parker, played without Albert Wilson. Those are the top 3 receivers on the depth chart. So I thought overall a good performance by Tua, and no, he's not a bust just because he threw an interception. I think that for fans is the death knell. If you, for fans and Colin Cowherd, because he's a clown, if you throw an interception in the preseason, that's you might as well retire. You are a bust. If you're a young developing quarterback and you throw an interception or 2 in a preseason game, your career is over. You should just go sell real estate or something. But no, I thought it was a good performance by Tua, and the Dolphins need to fix their offensive line if they want to do anything this season. And real quick, before we wrap up the show, just a few other takeaways from preseason week 1. And it was a fun preseason week 1. A few takeaways. Jordan Love played pretty well. He didn't look lost, which was nice. He went 12 for 17, 122 yards, and a touchdown. He did get hurt in the game, but apparently he's okay. He's going to miss a few days of practice, but he should be okay. I was encouraged by Jordan Love. Another guy who hadn't played in like a year. Didn't look amazing by any means, and he had some mistakes, and he's basically a rookie, so you'd expect that. But I just thought the fact that he went out there and didn't look completely lost, was encouraging, because there was not great reviews coming out of Packers camp the last 2 seasons. So it was good to see him out there. And then Dwayne Haskins could potentially be coming for that Pittsburgh backup job. Played pretty well, 16 for 22, 161 yards and a touchdown. Did better than Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph didn't play as much, 8 for 9, 77 yards. Still not bad for Rudolph, but Dwayne Haskins played well. It'll be interesting to see if he can grab that number 2 spot and maybe set himself up to be the guy who takes over for Ben after Ben inevitably retires or goes somewhere else next season. And then Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. That's a quarterback battle that's happening right now in New Orleans. Not a whole lot of separation there after week one. Taysom Hill went 8 for 12, 81 yards. He had an interception and a sack. And then Winston went 7 for 12, 96 yards. Had a touchdown and an interception. Really no separation there. I don't think we have any answers as far as that goes. Neither of them played really well. I thought they both played. They did not play well. So you're going to need to see a lot more. And they don't have a whole lot at receiver. I'm wondering if they do something to get them more help at the receiver position. But again, it's preseason. Don't overreact. But neither of them, I don't think, did anything to move themselves any higher in the pecking order there for that quarterback battle. And then one final note, the Baltimore Ravens win their 18th straight preseason game, which is insane. What a weird, dumb statistic that means nothing, but is still kind of fun. They haven't lost a preseason game going back to 2015. 18 in a row. Although it's preseason, that's still pretty impressive. 18 in a row is pretty insane. So congratulations to John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. But that's going to wrap up today's show. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Joe, I hope you enjoy the show. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say. No, you're giving me the nod. Nothing at all. If you enjoy the show, make sure you guys leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. Leave us a nice review. Please share the podcast. If you like the podcast and you're listening, don't be selfish. Don't listen to it and not share it with other people that would enjoy the podcast or enjoy two guys looking up Rotten Tomatoes reviews on a podcast. There's got to be some people that are into that. So make sure you do that. Follow us on social medias at _Average Joe Show. Have a good time on Twitter sometimes. Not as active on Instagram, but make sure you follow us there. The preseason is underway. I also just released a new article on bluecollarmediagroup.com, bluecollarmg.com. Make sure you guys go check that out. I'm doing a division preview for every division in the NFL. I just released the AFC East preview. Basically, I go and I review and I take a deep dive into each roster. I give you strengths, weaknesses, biggest addition in the offseason, biggest loss in the offseason, all that good stuff. And then I give you a record prediction and a summary of how I think the team's going to do. I'm having fun with that. I work really hard on it, so I would appreciate it if you guys go over and check that out on bluecollarmg.com. Check out my AFC East and beyond, all the rest of the divisions, previews. But I think that pretty much does it for this week's show. We'll be back next week discussing any other news or preseason shenanigans. Maybe we'll overreact to more things. But until next week, we will catch you guys on the next one.